Welcome to This Week in Hospitality Marketing, live show number 215. With me is the ever wonderful, meticulously groomed, well-coordinated...
Meticulously groomed? Wow.
I'm trying to think of something new to say to you. Mr. Robert Cole with Rock Cheetah.
He may be a real idiot with no valuable opinions, but he has good personal hygiene.
He has great personal hygiene. Yes. So here are some fun things. It's some banner items. Number one, Marriott continues to bang the Bonvoy drum.
Wow, you are just hitting it on here.
I know.
What have you done with Lauren? Now wait, it's pixelated. Are you like some sort of AI representation of Lauren Gray?
I went all AI. Yes. Wait a minute. There's more. Marriott. They're dogs and cats. Dogs and poodles, mass pandemonium, chaos,
mass hysteria,
hysteria. Marriott and Expedia sharing inventory. Marriott giving it to Expedia willingly. Let's see. Oh, and what do asset managers know that we don't?
That's right.
Yes, these are just some of the tantalizing things that are coming in today's episode of Hospitality Marketing.
Excellent. Well, So you like the Ghostbusters reference? I send out for people who don't know. I send out an email to the hosts of the podcast as well as the HSMAI Marketing Advisory Board, and I decided to use the famous Ghostbusters clip of mass hysteria of the problems of biblical proportions. Of things of what's happening in the industry,
and that is actually the lead item with that is that Marriott has decided that rather than try to herd cats, they much rather sell their soul to the devil.
Is that how you're characterizing it?
I'm thinking, because I believe that this is going to be the same type of wave that happened to us back in 2000, 2001, when we said, "Oh, sure. Well, let's give you the inventory since that makes it so much better for us and we get to save our costs and everything else on our side. Rather than fix the big problem, let's just go to the simple solution and have somebody else screw it up."
Yeah, well, I actually think this in some cases was a smart move for Marriott. It's short term, right? Short-term move. It makes a lot of sense for why they did it. And my big thing is this is not some sort of new revolutionary, never seen this in the hotel industry before thing, right? Because very simply, or in the travel industry, let's say. Number one, Southwest Airlines has always had constrained supply, right? The only way you can book a Southwest Airlines ticket is on southwest.com, through southwestvacations.com, which is managed by Apple Leisure Group, or through some GDS relationships, right? Sabre, and for years they didn't do it, but they've been on Sabre probably since late 90s sort of thing, and now Amadeus as well. I don't know if they're in Travelport or not, but anyway, there are only certain ways you can get their tickets, and they control it, pretty iron-fisted method. Delta Airlines a few years ago decided that they weren't going to work with every OTA out there, and groups like Book It and I think One Travel, famously Hipmunk, who was having a pretty good trajectory, Delta cut them out and just said, no, you aren't big enough, you aren't providing enough value, you don't get our stuff. And what happened to Hipmunk? They wound up being sold to Concur instead, and probably, not their dreams of going public or doing whatever, a bigger sort of thing. So kind of the same thing, Marriott, and then most importantly, Disney. Disney for years hasn't worked with every tour operator and things like that. They're very specific. They'll work with a United Vacations, a Southwest Vacations, American Airlines, a branded affiliate, group, but they won't just go out to a generic, white label tour operator. Here's our inventory, go sell it, bundle it, whatever you want. They want end-to-end control. They want to know, here's our stuff. It's going where, with who, your customer. And so that's sort of what Marriott is trying to do. So that makes sense. They're very large. They are able to do that. Similar to the way they cut commissions on groups by 3%, right? They seem to be, they're taking a very different approach than the airline industry takes turns on doing these things very weirdly. Oh, we'll start doing bag fees. We'll zero out commissions. We'll charge for, all that sort of stuff. The airlines kind of rotate around. In the hotel industry, it's just Marriott does it. And then what happened with the group ones, boom, there went Hilton, there went IHG, there went the others who followed Marriott's lead, right? So,
see, my
but anyway, I don't think it's that new. It makes some sense, but then I'll tell you the downs, and I can tell you why it's great for Expedia. I think it's better for Expedia than for Marriott, actually.
It's by far better than Expedia, absolutely. Look, I just make one comment.
It's huge for Expedia.
If you feed a dog food and then you start feeding it prime steak, and it turns out to be a big pit bull, and then you want to feed it back regular dog food, do you think the dog's going to be really happy? This isn't a temporary thing. Expedia's not going to be happy with this. You're giving it prime inventory, prime control, prime access. And then, Marriott thinks that they've got control over it a few years later. They're going to take it back. There's this big dog now that's going to go, rawr. No, you're not taking it back, or we're going to penalize you in ways you don't even imagine.
Well, and it's interesting. I mean, Expedia right now they want to work with Marriott, right? Marriott is very important for Expedia to continue working with, not just for the overall Expedia brands and all the underlying brands, but for Agencia and things like that, right? They want a good, strong relationship. It's the biggest hotel group in the world, right? That makes sense not to be fighting constantly. That's just, and I think both of them kind of realized we got to figure out how to make this work, right? Just fighting each other continuously is probably a bad outcome for other. How do we get a lose-lose situation is what they're trying to avoid. But with this, okay, so the positives I kind of point out, Marriott can now kind of pick and choose who they work directly with, right? Brand based on what brand, market size, compensation criteria, whatever, whoever's important. And if you aren't, or they don't like you that much, they go work with Expedia. You can get our stuff, but you got to go over there. We aren't going to do it. It's kind of like the airlines. They want everybody to do direct connects. Well, they don't really want everybody to do direct connects because there are 400 airlines around them. They want to do all that interlining stuff. They would love a GDS to do that. But if, whoever Expedia is coming to American Airlines for inventory, Americans go, do it direct, because then they don't have to pay Expedia the segment fee, right? And Expedia doesn't want to do that because that's how we get paid on an airline booking, because you paid zero commissions. No, we're going to stick in that realm, right? So you kind of get these models where you get locked into them. But Expedia already has probably the vast majority of these rates and content on the platform anyway, because they made the decision that Expedia is going to power Marriott or Vacations by Marriott, right? So they've got all the content and the description, and maybe not all the relationships with who's acquiring it on the demand side, but they probably have the product, loaded in there anyway. So I think that's where it came from. So that's pretty easy. Marriott doesn't have to do anything different. The huge one is because Expedia is the merchant of record on these things. They know where's this thing being sold and what is the retail pricing on it, right? I mean, they know because they're transacting it. Or if somebody is acting up, certainly Marriott knows who to go to and where to look. And then they can go, hey, Expedia, so-and-so's acting up, cut them off. And that group doesn't want to get cut off completely from all of Expedia's platform, right? So that's good. Expedia has kind of end-to-end, viewership on the thing. And Expedia Partner Solutions it's a robust platform, right? I mean, they certainly have this global reach. They're pretty good at localization in terms of, translations and things like that, cultural sensitivity on the content, payment processing, all that sort of stuff. They can handle all that pretty much. It's probably some regions better than others, but all that is stuff Marriott doesn't have to do. So for those reasons, that makes a huge amount of sense for Marriott, right? And I think that's probably what Marriott was looking at, right? But look at the ways it benefits Expedia. Expedia not only has all the data, but all of a sudden they are going to get a complete understanding of Marriott's revenue management and distribution strategies, because they're going to be working with them on retail rates, wholesale rates, package rates, opaque rates, white labels, B2B2C, everything, right?
Home rentals, even.
Home rental, everything, right? They will understand Marriott inside and out, probably with their AI better than Marriott does, right? So it's certainly the big one competitively. This is huge. I mean, it's like Expedia got the bullhorn and went, attention, bed banks and other kind of generic tour operator platforms. We're entering your sector. Yeah. We didn't see the welcome basket, but we're coming in anyway.
We'll just do Star Trek and say it's the Borg. Resistance is futile.
Oh yeah, they're coming in.
Assimilated. Yeah. It's
so.
And they have all that inventory. They have all that capacity. As you said, they'll have all that learning curve with what they're capable of doing. And this is not a simple extraction later on. If Marriott went into this thinking they're going to get out of it, they were wrong.
Absolutely. Well, that's a downside. Okay, so let's just look at the Expedia benefit, though, versus these bed banks, right? What happens? This is a very smart two-dimensional strategy for Expedia. Number one, they are cutting off their supply. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, oh, remember you used to sell Marriott, you can't anymore. Now, again, depending on the tour operator, maybe it's a big deal or not. I mean, Marriott isn't a big player in all-inclusive vacations sort of thing. So, I don't know. Maybe not that big. Well, yeah, sandals may be for sale. It'll be interesting to see whose sandals. If I was Marriott, I would buy sandals. Flat out. Right? Just, I don't know what the amount of money. You got to buy the assets, but they could go sell those off. But get the brands, and then you can go put those all over the place, right? And they're pretty decent operations as well. But anyway, they've got a competitive group, and they now all of a sudden they can eliminate a source of supply for them. And Expedia certainly wants this to be a domino, right? Marriott goes first, and then the others start doing it as well. So that's bad if you're a bed bank going, oh, my supply's gone. I got to go to Expedia to do this now. Okay, but and the weird thing is, Expedia is a client of these bed banks, right? Expedia will go out and get this stuff and go, hey, Marriott's rates suck that they're giving us, but let's go look around and this bed bank has a cheaper rate. We can do that. So they'll do it either way. They don't care where their supply comes from, right? Nope. But then the other side is, because they've cut off the supply, they also cut off demand. So the affiliates, or at least the clients of these bed banks, on that go, oh, we can't book Marriott through that. We've got to go to Expedia. Well, what do you have to do? You've got to sign an Expedia, partner network contract, right? So you become an Expedia affiliate. You got a relationship with them, and Expedia's got all this stuff, right? So you kind of go, well, should I even work with the other bed bank? I've got now a contractual relationship with Expedia, and Expedia is not signing exclusive deals just for Marriott and being the private label contractor, kind of discover the world type thing for these guys. They're just being Expedia, right? So, and that's what I think you were getting at. So all of a sudden, Marriott structurally eliminates contractual relationships with some sector of their customer, of their intermediary customers, and makes them go to Expedia. So what if the Expedia relationship starts turning south? Marriott's got to go try to reestablish all that.
Hey, Ed,
that's not going to be easy.
Thank God you're here. Robert is kind of lackadaisical in his opinion, and just, I don't know, lethargic comes to mind, kind of like, yeah, okay, let's talk about something. He's not very much excited about anything. And I thought he would be about this whole Marriott goes to bed with Expedia thing, but the dude's like, half asleep. I don't know what it is. Thank God you're here. By the way, what's with the different venue behind you? What's with the new decor?
Oh, my second, passion in life is flipping homes, and I have one under contract, but when it got its final inspection from its HVAC, they installed the unit wrong. So they're today having to take out the brand new air conditioning system that they had put in and reinstall it correctly. So I am working from my house today because this other house is in the same neighborhood.
For those who know Ed, you can only imagine the degree of pissed off he must have been when this was revealed.
Yes.
Yep.
A week and a half from closing.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, a week and a half from you normally want to do these things like the day of or the day before closing, just to get a little more. Yeah, it's more exciting that way.
Yeah, please put your tongue on the car battery, not the 9-volt. It makes it so much more palatable. Dude, that's terrible. That's terrible. But yeah, okay. So we are talking about the dogs and cats reigning pandemonium chaos. Marriott hands over its soul to the devil.
But wait. Hold up. Name a bed bank who isn't the devil.
Hotel beds isn't the devil.
Really?
They're little demons. They're demons. They're not
no.
devils.
Well, no. In fairness to the bed banks and the tour operator, yes, they can be evil, and there are evil ones. I think the hotel beds guys understood very well that a lot of for a while, the hotels were completely ignoring it, right? Especially, for following the global financial crisis, the hotels could care less. Send us bookings. We don't care why. So they had a whole bunch of business positive reinforcement for people breaking the rules, right?
How many years ago was that?
Oh, no, that was 10 years ago. I know. Absolutely.
Right. So
weaning off of that has been
the
tricky.
The 10-year wean.
The 10-year wean. But then again, AMOMA shut down, right?
Yes.
I'm willing to. I don't know. And I've had hotel beds as a client. I've had Marriott as a client. Sort of thing. I haven't had Expedia as a client. Kind of had Expedia as a client once. But anyway, I don't know. I don't have inside information on what hotel beds is doing, but I'm thinking that they clamped down on AMOMA and were like, you can't do this anymore because you are causing us pain, right? You're doing this stuff. We told you, stop the behavior. The hotels don't like it. Because I spoke at the hotel beds conference last May, and I told the audience, here's what happens. And the bad thing when, and it's a whole bunch of their affiliates and the credit card companies and airline, all these people who work with them. I said, when you start cheating things like that, it's fine and it's short term and you think you're gaming the system, but guess what? It pisses off the hotels. The hotels cut off the channel because that's all they can do. They don't know you individually. They go cut off hotel beds. And now what are you going to do? Right? Sort of thing. So, I said, so it's on hotel beds to work with you.
And contract with Expedia.
Right. Yeah. And the weird thing is, but Expedia is a hotel beds client, right? Because they do the same thing. They're getting a bunch of inventory. All of them get inventory. There are layers and layers of access to this inventory, right? So, and Marriott's always been concerned on who's distributing it, and Expedia gives that to them because Expedia is the merchant of record, and they can go, hey, somebody's out of parity over what the hell's going on. Expedia, fix that because it's only one spot. Or the other guys they have direct relationships to, and I'm holding out my judgment on this for who do they keep with direct relationships and who do they push over to. Well, I guess Ed lost interest. So.
Wow. And just said, hey, you know what? You're wrong. Poof.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think with the we'll see. I mean, I think Marriott probably wants to work with the big important ones who are branded, right? I think they'll want to continue working probably with all the major airlines. I don't know if they want to work with the capital ones and things like that directly. I don't think they want to add a lot of those. And then that's a lot of the bed bank business comes through groups like that, right? He's back. We thought you had just lost interest.
Webinar Jam jammed up on me.
Oh, that's how they got their name.
That's
actually what I was thinking. I was like, that's actually quite clever.
Damn. Yeah, so we got to pontificate a little bit about this. What's your thoughts, Ed, on this? I mean, we went over and kind of dove on this already before we jumped in.
I think it's interesting. It's a move that had it been from hotel beds to another bed bank, I don't think would have even made the news. But because it's Expedia, it's newsworthy. I'm not as sold that even a souring would screw this up, like a souring on the OTA model would screw this up, because businesses do this all the time. Samsung manufactures Apple iPhones.
Yeah.
And and they're constantly suing each other, and still doing business together.
Yeah.
Google is straight up trying to compete with Expedia, and yet there's a person at Google whose job is to keep Expedia spending money with them.
Yeah.
This world has kind of come to that place where there is no cut and dry customer versus competitor requirement to deals like this.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting. I think it's a huge win for Expedia.
Absolutely.
It does give an extra chip of negotiation. Should they get to a really hard line, they now have a new pool to negotiate inside of if they need to recover. I think I don't think it's going to be super damaging to hotel beds. Short term, I think long term, it's a problem for them, because if I was Hilton, I'd be renegotiating hotel beds contracts, saying, "Hey, what are you going to do to keep us?"
Yep.
Off of
Well, and I don't
Expedia.
think it's just hotel beds. I think it's a lot of other.
Well, they've acquired a lot of them, though, haven't they?
Yeah. Oh no, they're a big. Yeah, they're definitely a big player. It's certainly for them, but I think it's a lot of other groups as well. So, you wind up even with, not to talk too far out of school, but I think people kind of know this. Back when I was with Mark Travel and Disney would work with United Vacations and Southwest Vacations, but not FunJet, because that was just, it wasn't that they hated FunJet, and it was easy to work with because they were all on the same platform, but that's just not what they did. Disney protected their brand by saying, no, we want our product bundled with groups that we specifically know who they are, and the branding's consistent with what we want to do, right? And they did work with Expedia, but they also, my understanding was their negotiations with Expedia had to always list them first in Orlando. It always had to
for the
offer
longest time. It was like for the first couple of years.
Absolutely.
Disney hotels and Disney ticket packages had to be
there.
First list of every page.
Right.
So even when you were in the city list and you wanted to go to the second page of hotels, it still had Disney at the top.
Right.
Yeah, that was for a long time.
And Expedia kind of went, yep, that's really important.
And that's what you do, because at that time, no one big was able to sell Disney vacation packages like that. So that's what you do. It's the again, I hate going to another industry, but it's the AT&T Apple deal when the first iPhone came out. They sold their soul for that. And it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. So the challenge is kind of unwinding it, though, because what they're, again, I'm not sure if you missed the part, the strategy for Expedia is genius, because it cuts off the supply, or a portion of supply, to the competition being hotel beds or whoever. I mean, Expedia has now entered this sector, right? They're getting serious about
they just acquired the largest hotel chain. They've more than entered.
Yeah, exactly. So well, and they do, and they have all of the, what I was saying is they have all the sources of inventory. Hotwire has Opaque, right? Classic Custom Vacations has like their kind of more custom stuff, if Marriott's doing much stuff like that. They've got the merchant model stuff. They've got the agency model stuff. They've got all the package stuff. All the content's already there because they're running Vacations by Marriott. So why not? It's easier, right? And I think the really interesting thing that I want to say, Marriott has an opportunity. Do they want to go start playing games with Bonvoy now, right? Because you're a Marriott member and you're booking through whatever, Expedia distribution, because again, Expedia has end-to-end, they're the merchant record, they know where this is getting sold, right? And they can tell theoretically if it's being sold bundled with an airline or not, because they're selling the airline ticket probably. If it's not, I don't know, maybe Expedia puts in a few things to monitor and keep eyes on folks who start doing behavior that looks a little weird. But you could probably do that. Hey, put in your Marriott ID, right? And then go through. Now, I don't know how the economics work out for Marriott and Expedia and the tour operator with doing that, but I've got to think all of a sudden that's like, wow, leisure travel, Bonvoy points count. We're part of the deal. Now, Marriott may not want to do that because they want to still try to steer people to direct channels, but that could be interesting. Yeah. Or at least getting the information, right? We want the guest name and we want to be able to communicate. Maybe they don't get the emails, maybe they don't get the things, but Expedia will have a messaging capability to go communicate back and forth with these guys on their platform.
They have one. It's not as easy as Booking.com's, because Booking.com just delivers an aliased email.
Right, yeah.
And they route the communications through that, where Expedia is still you have to log in to communicate. Yeah.
But again, the Expedia can fix, that's a fixable solution for Expedia.
It's actually easier to do the alias
I think so.
than it is to do what Expedia built.
Yeah. So, and then the killer for Expedia is they get all of the business intelligence on this. All of it. They know and Marriott,
and that's what they got. That's what they got in this deal.
Oh yeah,
is now they have everything.
Yeah, and the contracts.
They already had the Marriott packaging.
Yeah,
they are now processing anything that comes through what normally would be bed bank business. Yeah. They've got the OTA side. I mean,
well. And just think of the credit card guys, because all these guys, and I was saying Capital One, it doesn't matter, right? I'm just using them generically. Capital One advertises a lot, and they do the whole, hey, no blackout dates and things like that, right? Which is great. Well, how do they do it? Well, they're buying rooms, right? The points have a value. They're just doing, and it's like what Switchfly does with, buy with cash or points, sort of thing for airline tickets. It's the same thing. All these things have values, and they figure it out, and they go, yeah, we're buying a room at such and such. Well, now what happens is if those people, I don't know, and I'm sure I don't know how like some of the credit card guys really work. They may just be all in on, let's just say hotel beds or whoever, or Switchfly, or they work with both. Who knows, right? But again, for them, it's probably simpler to go to one spot, I would think, if the economics work. So all of a sudden, if they go, oh, I can't get any Marriotts from you, I got a whole bunch of people who are using Capital One cards or whatever versus the Marriott branded, card because they want flexibility. What happens then? It's like, oh, I've got to go do a contract with Expedia instead. And I get what? You got airline, you got all sorts of goodies in there, don't you?
I have a feeling a lot of them already have that relationship.
They probably do. Yeah,
because I mean, a lot of them, their booking experience looks like Expedia's, so I'm guessing it's Expedia's been fulfilling it for at least some of them.
I don't know. All the hotel group booking experiences all look like Expedia now. It's hard to say.
That's true too.
We're going to give you two months of calendars.
So which direction you want to go at this point? Do you want to talk about the all in on the Marriott Bonvoy messaging? Or you want to switch over and say what the asset managers know that we don't know?
I think asset managers. I think we've talked enough about Marriott.
Okay. Yeah. Let's jump into the article on asset managers say that the downturn has already hit.
Wow. That's 3 years too late.
Is Hotel News Now down? Because I just opened the article and I'm getting a HTTP error.
Ooh, let's see what we got here.
Boy, they weren't kidding. Like, they were already feeling the pinch of the downturn.
Huh.
I like some of the points that were made out of
service unavailable. Look at that. Hang on.
Yeah, 503 error.
503 is not one of the good ones.
No.
I got a 20, which means that their TCP is out.
Wow. So we can't talk about it because people can't. Oh, wait. Is it going to load now?
I don't know.
They more meant Hotel News later with how difficult it is to get here.
Well, fortunately, I've got. See, I actually look at these in advance. Well, no, I cheat because I produce the list. I produce the list late at night. So, in fairness to Ed and Lauren, they might not have read these
I
articles
did.
before.
I actually read this article, and I got it on my iPad so I can pull it up and actually read it.
Lauren can read. Who knew?
Well, no. Let's quantify this. Pretty pictures and graphs, totally there. Okay, lots of those little squiggly things. No.
Yeah. Anyway, the asset managers are basically coming in and saying, we've got this the downturn has started, and I believe I'm going to pull a Tim Peter here. In late 2016, I think I put something about welcome to the plateau, right? Because that's when occupancy plateaued, and all the increases since that, for the last 3 years have only been on rate. And now rate isn't growing. It isn't growing faster than occupancy. Year over year growth is slowing. So it's
actually they pointed out they made the example. The comment was of Tom Tom Dick. It's the guy that's in charge. He said that supply has now reached its apex of demand. Is how he referred to it, and we are now at that point where. And this is the thing that makes me funny because it's like, thank you, Captain Obvious. We're still trying to yield higher rate, even though there is a minor dip in occupancy demand, knowing full well that as occupancy demand downturns, so does ADR. And I'm like, wow, that's thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, you took economics too.
It's like, so when there's less people wanting the stuff, you can't charge as much. Damn, that's so gay. Gee.
Actually, I have to say, in college, I took a economics course in the arts and sciences school. See, get your bingo card at Cornell. I didn't take it in the hotel school. I wanted to take it from I think it was Milton Friedman, who wound up very, very prominent. Economist who actually wound up deregulating the airline industry instead of teaching that semester. So, damn it. But anyway, we got a guy who was a PhD candidate from Ireland whose doctoral thesis, which I'm not sure he even got, was on upward sloping demand curves. And so I got to learn for a semester about the Irish potato famine and the one time there may have been an upward sloping demand curve, but when I looked at it, it really wasn't. It was just really true kind of supply disruption, which was causing, or the return of supply. There was more supply and prices continued to go up. And it's like, no, everything was so constrained before. That's an aberration. That's not. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, maybe they're looking at stuff like that.
There's 3 points that they made out of it that I thought were interesting as points to highlight. They said, one, food and beverage better firm up their operational costs. They are not as profitable as they should be, and they need to be. Their F&B is too sloppy.
Headline, 1970.
Yeah.
Right.
Food and beverage out of control. Costs out of line. It's a trillion asset. News at 11. The other is, and I can't believe they threw this in, but I guess they're just trying to throw the kitchen sink. The centralization of all of your small bottle amenities in the rooms is both good for the environment and a strategic cost savings. Wow, that's going to save the hotel industry. Let's bottle up and put the squirters on the walls. It's like, I do believe, the less plastic, beautiful world and everything else, but is that going to save the hotel industry? Probably not. And the other, which I thought was absolutely delusional, was our management teams have a good grasp on their operational controls, and we've been able to diminish our operational costs over these years of plenty. So we're expecting that we'll be in a fine position should the downturn begin to continue to grow. I'm like, boy, are you guys smoking weed?
Well, good. Yeah, all the trends that I see are
all your operating
costs. Your operating costs have been growing faster than your revenues for the last couple of years. Huh.
You've been dying of a death of 1,000 cuts. How is it that you think your management teams are well poised? Because they keep cutting out silly things like, I don't know, marketing dollars and training? Whoop, Ed left again. I pissed him off.
He didn't agree with that point.
Didn't agree with that point. How did he goes? But it's one of these things like that's an unfair statement. Most management organizations, their reporting process versus reality is two distinct things.
Right.
What they're saying is happening versus and how they're phrasing it to the ownerships, the asset management teams, and what is actually happening at their properties are almost bipolar. They're the reality of versus the expectations that they're reporting, and it's a shame. Hey, Ed, I
Yeah.
thought I pissed you off when on that last comment you just said, screw it, I'm out of here.
Got webinar jammed again.
Remember, they're jammed again. But anyways, that's how I kind of read the article to it is these asset managers. I mean, HAMA's a pretty astute organization, but
Yeah.
I was a little surprised by them walking into all this saying, Captain Obvious comments and delusional. They believe that
Smokescreen.
Yeah.
It's all a smokescreen.
Yeah.
They don't want to tell you what they're really doing.
Yeah. Well, or is it how the hotel industry deals with disruption? Step 1, ignore it. Step 2, when told you should look at this, continue to ignore it. Step 3, panic. And step 4, we aren't step 3 yet, right?
No.
And then step 4, complain.
Yeah, and then step 5, accept the inevitable and give the inventory to a third party.
So that's the question, is if now this could lead into another topic, which is the imminent IPO of Airbnb.
Oh.
So the last...
Where's Stuart? Wait. We can't talk about Airbnb without Stuart. This is his favorite topic.
The last couple of economic pullbacks gave birth to very powerful OTAs.
Yep.
This is when Priceline got forged as a huge player. Booking.com, Airbnb was like thought of during this
2009. Yeah.
Yep. So now let's do it. Call it. In the spirit of college football season, let's do a you pick 'em. Who is going to be the OTA that takes a new top position thanks to this upcoming economic pullback?
That's a good question. Do you consider Airbnb? I think a great question is: do you consider Airbnb an OTA or a supplier?
They're an OTA.
Okay, good.
I say Google.
I think
that's.
I actually agree with Lauren. I'm going to say Google.
I say Google pulls it.
Wait,
this is where Google.
Oh, Google makes its move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
And basically, their shield is this is what consumers want.
Yeah.
They
so you heard it here first, nobody.
With the answer. We're just helping.
Google.
We're just helping people. Yeah.
Google, our hot take. This is where Google takes over. Because that's what's going to happen. Because of course, they're not operationally ready from an expense standpoint, no matter what they tell you.
Right.
And while they're riding whatever downturn, they can't move fast enough to stem expenses on the operational side. So what do they end up cutting? They cut marketing, they cut sales, they cut all the things that actually feed the business and outsource it to whomever is capable of just filling the rooms. But in all actuality, had they actually spent time focusing on what they say they're ready with, which they're not, their operational costs are insane. And out of control. The wastefulness is out of control. Like
the tech stack's a mess. The tech stack is all going to SaaS model, which guess what? In a downturn,
which is going to hurt in the downturn.
When you're paying $5 a room and that's not much, and it's 70% occupancy, this is working out. When you're at 50,
Yep.
Right.
That's a. How did that number get so big? Well, it didn't change. Like, which number? The revenues changed.
Right.
Didn't know it worked that way.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You subtract the expenses from the revenues. Okay. So, yeah, it's I don't know. It's the industry is not well set, and from a staffing perspective, those costs are just going to go up because there's a constraint in terms of available workers, particularly in the most important areas of housekeeping and some guest contact positions, which are not going to get solved by AI or robotics in any time soon.
Blockchain, though, will.
Well, yeah, we're going to clean your room with virtual reality. Put on these goggles and you won't see what's in the room. Yeah. Doesn't it look sparkling and clean? And it smells fine too. We've got that's the new enhanced interface.
That's the Febreze canister on the front of the VR going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so all those things, those costs aren't going anywhere. The franchise fees, maybe the brands have to not aggressively increase them, but I don't know, all the reward program costs and stuff. Yes, they're squeezing the consumer with fewer benefits.
But see, the brands,
that's not
hold on, the brands aren't going to take part in
Right.
helping because the brands are no longer hoteliers.
They got their own problems, right? They're
going to say, hey, we had an agreement. Our agreement's long term. You know how economics work. You knew there would be a downturn at some point. Why are we renegotiating? See ya.
Well, and
we're not struggling. We don't own hotels.
No, it's actually even uglier than that. They're going to be like, well, you're still going to have to do your FF&E improvements. You're still going to have to keep your brand standards up. If we're going to still be put you into the system, and you can't get out from the system, and if you don't do all this stuff, we're just going to bury you so deep.
Well, I don't know though. The question is, will they keep the brand standards up? Because what'll happen is they're going to get themselves. Keys. They can't lose the keys. Yeah. So they're going to go, you got to stay in here or we're going to kick you out. And they're like, okay.
So this was Marriott's secret. Yeah. This is how Starwood comes back.
Oh,
Sheraton. No.
Yeah. Sheraton. Yeah. Becomes the 4 points.
The flag with no standards.
Yeah. Well, it was 4 points, right? And now.
Yeah, but they actually fixed 4 points.
Yeah.
So.
Did they?
Well, you at least know what it is now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, kind of the catch-all brands, but Weston's a problem for them too.
Okay, so on that, Mark, I'm staying at the AC Hotel in Tempe. Okay. And the website's
like right now.
Right now.
Is this just so you can be close, so that after this show you can go up to Nevada and storm Area 51?
Okay, that's, right. That's my evil plan. Yes, you're right about that. But
I knew it.
Yes, I'm out there.
I knew you would be one of those going out for the storm Area 51.
He's been forging his tinfoil hat all night.
So the website's totally useless. I get to the hotel now. You're always critical. The way you work in the industry, it never goes away. I walk in the lobby, I can tell you how many lights are out in 5 minutes because as an old GM, that's what you look for every day you walk around a hotel. So he's like, oh, that light's out this side. So the crew is pleasant but not informed. Hi, how are you? Great. Hey, can you tell me about such? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go get the supervisor. I just would ask if you had coffee in the lobby, but okay. So I get in the room.
Really? You just said I got a question, and they didn't even want to hear the question before.
No, I asked the coffee. I asked about, did you have coffee in the lobby? Let me go get the supervisor. Really? Okay, you're the front. Okay. So
wow.
Anyway, I go over in the rooms. Everything's new and clean.
Wait. Did they have coffee in the lobby? Or
I'll tell you, the end of the story. This is a good one. So the rooms are nice. Everything's pleasant, so forth and so on. And whenever I travel, I eat hamburgers. Go figure. And so they said they have kind of a limited menu tapas selection downstairs. So I'm doubting whether they have food.
Yep.
Right. So I go over and I try to look at it. There's nothing in the room, nothing on the TV, even though it has my name on the TV. Nothing on the TV, nothing on the website, no menu, nothing. I called down.
Same thing, and I stayed at one in LA, and I was looking forward to it because it's like, this will be good. This is a hot brand. This is Marriott's growing it, and same thing. I wanted to get something to eat, and there was nothing.
So I called down, and the door was pleasant enough. And again, hey, what kind of food do you have? I can't find a menu anywhere. Hold on, let me get a supervisor. Okay. So supervisor comes on, and she says, well, we have a bar assortment of food, blah, 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 so forth. And I said, do you have anything like burgers? She says, oh, yeah, we have a burger. And we have like a garlic chicken. I'm like, oh, well, I'm coming downstairs. So I come downstairs, go to the bar. Can I eat at the bar? Yes. I said, so, what's your chicken like? Well, it's an airline cut chicken breast. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm like, what? Whoa. Okay, stop. No.
Airline cut? That's how they described it?
That's how they described it. So I said, I'll take.
I don't think anyone in the world has a positive thought in their head
about airline chicken.
About airline chicken.
No.
Wow. Is it marinated in blue water?
Right.
No airline. So I go over to get the burger. The burger, I swear it could have come from McDonald's. I don't know. It was that kind of burger. And they took cubed hash brown potatoes and deep fried them to call them French fries. I'm like, well, I probably should have got the tapas, but okay. And they tried
to tell you.
No, they didn't tell me about the French
They
breakfast.
led with the tapas.
They did lead with the tapas. Lesson learned.
So they
Okay.
did try to tell you.
They did, in some strange, bizarre, interpretive way, they did try to tell me. So they have this European-style breakfast in the morning, and which means cold cuts and cheese and breads. And I'm okay with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I come down, and it's like, oh, it is awesome. They have a fresh cut prosciutto machine. They have an espresso machine that you can do every which flavor but loose. High pressure, triples, doubles, singles, frappes, lattes, everything. Then they have, there's a woman in the kitchen, and this is unique to this hotel, that's a former pastry chef. And she makes her own croissants.
Wow.
And they are pillows. They are absolutely awesome. And they have the fresh jams, and they have all that stuff. And it's like, oh my God, this is so good. Not a word of it online.
Ed had to leave. He got hungry.
He's
getting a snack.
None of this is online.
No,
None of it.
Nothing. And I go down. I had meetings all day in LA, and I was flying out early flight the next morning. So I completely missed the breakfast, which was too bad. So I sit down at the bar, and I want to get, and I had some work to do. So I wanted to take it back to the room. So anyway, they give me the stuff. It was pretty pricey. The presentation was like a brown takeout box, and I think I got some grilled vegetables. It looked like they just dropped them in the, and it looked horrible, right? And you just went, oh my God. And I can't remember I don't even remember what the other thing I got was. It was like, this is disgusting. I mean, The presentation was horrible. It was expensive. It took them like 40 minutes to get it. And you're just like, what a disaster. This is just.
But meanwhile, I look at their beer taps, and they have a couple of nitrous taps off it. They have these amazing beer selections.
Yep, absolutely.
Nobody said a word about that. But this breakfast is so, and they got these nice frittatas. They have these nice quiches in addition to the European stuff. Plus,
and again, no room service, no ability to have somebody, even though it's at a bar, can you take it upstairs? Instead of you got people from a kitchen running at the bar, you go, come on, you can't,
So really, then they have this little plexiglass thing standing up on the end of the counter that I just noticed today, my second day here before I leave. And if you don't like any of this European stuff, they have American-style breakfasts with eggs and hash browns and stuff that you can just order if you get the buffet. And it's like, what? Nobody said anything about this either, because I enjoyed what they had, but I wouldn't have mind having a little bit more traditional breakfast one compared to the other day.
Now, was the European breakfast included in the rate?
No, it's $15.
It's all extra, which is like, why wouldn't you tell people that there's an opportunity to spend more money?
Let me ask the supervisor.
Yeah, let me go ask the supervisor. So here's the thing. This is something I really appreciate about them, is they didn't take the coffee machine out of the room to offer coffee at breakfast, which is all complimentary. All the beverages, including orange juice and coffee and everything complimentary. Plus, they have a nifty espresso machine in the lobby separate from the breakfast area that's also complimentary. So they have coffee in the lobby, coffee for free in the breakfast area, Nespresso coffee for free in the breakfast area, my coffee machine in the room. I'm in coffee heaven. That made the whole place worthwhile, because no matter where I went, I could get coffee. And I love coffee. Can't tell.
But the person, when you came in,
had to ask
you asked if they had coffee. They had to ask a supervisor if they had coffee.
Yes. And they do little cute things, like, they have the little sage satchels that you can bring up and throw in your suitcase or put on your pillow to sleep or whatever it is. And then they have this little weird thing at the end of the hallways. It's kind of in a V. There's an ice machine. It's a countertop crushed ice machine, and you have to put your cup underneath it for the ice. But it's a small little ice machine, and it doesn't make any noise. Just out comes the ice, and I'm like, that's brilliant, because
What's the source? They have a water source going into it that freezes it. Does it have enough capacity?
Apparently, because what happens is there's a little countertop area where they can put stuff. They put extra towels and things there if you want to grab them. And then there's this ice machine, the countertop ice machine that does crushed ice. Kind of almost not shaved ice, but crushed ice. And the thing just goes, out comes the ice. I'm like, that's brilliant, because the little, you don't need a pile ice, and it's like it's nice. And so there's little amenity things that were really cool.
Yeah, the little thing where you can grab your own towels and things like that are great.
But the thing is like, none of that's on the website.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the silliest thing in the world. It's like, these are the things that make the difference. If somebody told me I could get coffee anywhere I walked in this hotel, I don't care if the bed's a brick. I'll sleep on the brick. Give me the coffee, but that's me.
You're not sleeping anyway because you're wired on coffee.
But the espresso machine, but the breakfast was awesome. And none of that's indicative on the website. And it's like, man, or the fact that the girl that used to be a pastry chef, that should be a feature about this hotel. We have somebody that makes amazing croissants, not a word.
That doesn't fit into the Marriott website template.
Of course not. It has to be looking like everything else. Yeah, that was a little bit of a frustration point to it. Man, Ed is having some issues with Webinar Jam today.
Is this the house he's trying to sell?
No, this is his house.
This is his house.
Yeah.
Wow, he should maybe upgrade to the better quality internet. I don't know.
I think he has like the El Primo setup, but
he's got his dial-up modem isn't working so well apparently.
Yeah, but no, it is kind of a bit of frustration, but it's been fun here. I came here to speak to the Phoenix HSMEI chapter. We did the first online hospitality workshop. Went really well. It was fun. The case scenario was a renovation project for a 250-room fictitious hotel with 20,000 square foot of common space. And we had some good teams and some groups. It was a lot of fun to go through the exercise. We made them into groups between revenue managers, marketers, operations people, and they had to collaborate.
And then they fought? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
We didn't give them any sharp objects. We just gave them blunt baseball bats. Everything seemed to be okay. We were able to clean the blood. No, actually, they putting them into a fictitious scenario where they weren't worried about their sandboxes for their own hotels. Gave them the opportunity to dialogue on methodologies that they don't normally do in their own environment. And it made them realize there's a value proposition to lowering the wall, if not removing the wall, between what revenue management has as data and communication, what marketing has as data and communication, what operations needs to do is fulfillment, how sales can contribute. And they just start talking.
Yeah.
And it was a fun exercise. It was good. We're going to go over and have the chapter, once I put some polish onto it, put an intro and do some other stuff with it. We're going to post it up again as a live show that people can sign up for and participate in. And I'll field questions as people go through the process.
So anyway, well, we mentioned the Airbnb. Ed wanted to talk about the Airbnb announcing plans to go public. That $31 billion valuation was from about 2 years ago also. Yeah. So I think it's going to be, that is probably going, my prediction is that's going to be the all-star IPO next year. When it goes, I think that it is a great business and it's well run. As far as I can, it's profitable. Their business model works. They have huge moats around, for competition coming in. I think it's a winner. It's like the antithesis. I know they always get. Ed is back. We're talking about Airbnb. They always get bunched.
Who knows how long I'm back?
Uber,
I don't know what's going on with what we're doing.
Is your dial-up modem having problems? Is that the issue?
Who knows?
Sorry about that. I have no idea why it's giving us quirkiness right now. Unless you know what it is, I'm getting more and more suspicious that Webinar Jam's feed for all of us is based on my administrator feed speed. And because right now, when I have low speed, it seems like we have these issues.
I'm rock solid though, so I don't know. But,
like I said, it seems to be just coincidental at times that whenever I have like a moderate speed, like right now I'm at 1010, that people coming on or off, it has a bump capability to it, I guess, or something. Maybe
I don't know. But both of you are pixelated the way I can, at least from my view. Both of you.
You're both pixelated from mine as well.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah.
So it either is a general feed for problem that they have, or it's because it's based on my feed speed, which I hope it isn't. But
it's me.
But anyway, so with Airbnb, that made me cringe on the other article about how to be a superhost, because as you read that article, that is the core of being a hospitality person, and that's what people do. And it's like, that's what hotels should be focused on, and that's what makes a superhost for Airbnb. I'm like,
Also makes a superhost for a hotel.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, speaking of super things, I have a superhero name for Ed.
Yes, I've been dying to hear this.
I think he should be Dr. StOnge. Don't you think? I think that's good. Dr. StOnge.
You've been so excited to talk. Like, you built it up in an email.
I know. To me. I dropped it. Ed called. Well, you called a couple of times. I never talked to you, and you never left.
I was just trying to catch you.
Oh, okay.
No, I have nothing important. I was just trying to catch you.
Had no idea. So anyway, I thought I'd tease the thing. It did. Yeah. So, but I think Dr. StOnge would be good. You could do. Yeah. It's not to
What's
be
his
confused with
superpower?
Dr. Strange.
What's his superpower?
Oh, the ability to disagree with anything.
Funny you say that.
He disagrees. That's not his superpower.
Stuart Butler calls me this morning and says, "Hey, just want to give you a heads up. We're going to be doing a session together at an upcoming event." And I was like, "All right." He's like, "Yeah, you remember how I, had said that it would be interesting for us to do a panel where there were random topics, and you and I found out right then which side of the topic we were on."
That's my
I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm down for that. What are the topics? And because I want to make sure I at least know something about them.
Yeah.
And so he's telling me all this, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Then I see an email go out from the event organizer, already has it in. I'm like, so was this were you asking? Was I voluntold?
So what event is this? Or can you...
It's OPMA, the On-Site Property Managers Association.
Oh.
They sent out the email came out at noon, and they're calling our session the Not So Presidential Debate.
Oh, that's great. Very cool. That's a great format. So
yeah. I mean, I only had to ask him to remove one of the topics because I was like, Stuart, I'm not going to be able to argue it, which is better, SEO or PPC.
Oh.
I'm like, I know enough to talk a little bit about it, but I'm like, you run an agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, so whatever side you're on,
you got a gun,
is not going to be going up.
Yeah.
Right. I'll talk about pretty much anything else, but
so are they picking which side you have to do? Is that random?
Yeah, they tell us we know
then.
what the topics are going into it, but right then on stage they'll tell us what side we're on.
Oh, that's great. Yep. Yeah.
Actually, that's awesome because from a panelist point of view, it'd be great to go over it and if you're worthy to be on a panel to discuss a topic, then you should be able to draw on a hat and pull either a topic out or position on a topic that's been.
That's
told.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I've proposed that numbers of times for probably like the last 3 or 4 years. And I did a little bit with Tim once.
No one wants to do it against you, Robert, because even if they could argue against you, they'd never get a moment to because you dominate the clock.
Time limitations.
That's his strategy.
Sure.
That's his strategy. Ding! I win. You didn't say anything.
I did it with John Burns at the Hospitality Upgrade.
He would be
conference.
good for that. Yeah.
Yeah, we went back and forth, and but we knew which side we were doing beforehand. We didn't do it.
No, we'll find out on stage, and we'll be debating against each other, which is funny because chances are we both believe the same thing.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, have you seen the Saturday? They did some great Saturday Night Live debates. This was back several years ago. That they always had someone would come on and someone would have a point I don't know. It would be just a horrible topic, right?
Okay.
Where it'd be something like slavery.
They did these debate skits, and
somebody always got the really bad end, and it turned out
they got the bad end of it, and they're like, I don't wanna.
I like the ones back with Jane Curtin and Dan Aykroyd, where they go back and forth, point, and Dan Aykroyd, Jane, you ignorant slut. If we ran our business, we have every 2-bit person hanging around us. Yes.
So now I'm trying to decide, should I get a really orange spray tan for this and really lean into it?
MAGA hat.
And then put a MAGA hat on. Yeah. Should do something. But in kind of fun ways with this, it would be kind of, if you wanted to really twist it up, swap positions halfway through the conversations if you convinced each other.
Well, so that's what I was saying to him. I'm like, man, we should at least on one of them do that.
Yeah.
Mid-sentence.
People pay attention.
Yeah.
Completely swap.
Yeah.
But no, that would in a really fun way. I mean, even Robert, you're not the council. You're off the council at the end of the year. Is that what's happening?
I thought I was off the council right before the event, but apparently I'm until the end of the year. So
I just was spending time with Tammy from Milestone. She was down on the board with me to go to the panel that we did down here in Phoenix or Tepe. And she's just getting onto it and stuff. And I was just thinking that from a digital commerce perspective, it would really be fun to let the audience vote on topic And so, here's a choice of topics. Vote which topic is going to be in, boom, and then vote who on which side should argue which position.
Oh, well, you don't have to vote. You just pick. You just randomly. You let the people they draw it out. You're pro. You're con. Go.
There's random, and then there's planned random.
The challenge, but I mean, here's the thing: the topics, knowing them a little bit, can at least give you time
to prep both sides.
Both sides. Because what you don't want is, because then what ends up happening is first of all, most of us are always aligned on these things because we take the time to research things. And so our opinion on it is developed in fact. Yeah. So that side's always the easier side to argue. If you've not given any thought to the other side of the issue, then you're not actually debating well.
No. You have to play both sides in your head to understand why you have the opinion you do on what side you prefer. But what I'm saying is, Robert, what I mean by truly random is give 4 topics that, of course, the panelists or the argumentors, the debaters would know about, and then allow the audience to do a Mentimeter vote real quick. What won the pop? Great. And which person should get which side, pro, con, nay, yay, on both of them, and then they go.
Or you give them 8, or you have 8 topics and they pick 4 for the session because you have certain timing type thing.
Whatever it is, but if you let the audience actually do the voting, then they truly know that this is hot topic. This isn't just because you left 2 pieces of paper in a hat that you see on stage. This is literally they picked out of one of it. Because then the impressiveness is the conviction of being able to convince the audience based on the randomness of their selection of topic and proposal side. It really actually validates the conversation a lot. So. Yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun.
Well, again, though, it depends, because if you have me up on stage, it's just sales skill. It's not, you can completely detach your own feelings from whatever it is you're trying to sell convincingly. Yeah.
But if it's in that sense, then you also know which side should end up winning the conversation if you want the point to be made. If you really want it to be, even if you've been given the role of the contra, but you know the other side is the right side, allowing the surrendering of the
you don't know me well.
Look at his face.
You don't know me well.
Look at his face. Look at his face.
It is.
I promise you this.
Look at
if
that.
I end up on the side that is damaging to the industry, it will take years to undo the damage that my argument brings.
Win at all costs, no prisoners.
Okay. Great, Robert, you can tell the council when you go meet with them again in October. Game on. Ed and I on stage.
I have a conflict.
It's MMF, baby.
I'm not. I can't go to that. I can't go to that meeting. Did they reschedule Curate for the same time?
Yeah, October.
Yeah, I can't go. I got a client thing, so
let me start practicing my opening line with Ed. Ed, you ignorant slut! If we ran our business like you run your business, oh yeah, let's make it happen, Captain.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun.
That's fantastic.
Hey, another gripe I have. Okay, so I'm talking to the curator.
You know what grinds Lauren's gears?
What's that?
So we're at this venue, and it's a beautiful venue, and I'm talking to the woman who's in charge of 6 of them. What I do when I go to these panels or conference or HSMA stuff, I walk around everybody that comes into the room. It's like, hi, you're going to have to put up listen to me for a little while, blah, blah, blah. What is it that you came here to listen to that you hoped was a part of the topic? What inspired you to come here, and what do you hope that comes out of the conversation of this? I'll make sure it gets added.
But wait, Robert, don't get super impressed with that, because no matter what they say, he then just laughs uncontrollably and tells them, you're at the wrong place.
Yeah.
That's not true. I smile graciously and blow it up. No, I always make sure I throw it in there. So, because it's off the hip anyway. So I go through all this, and I'm talking to her. She's early into the room, and she says, I said, are you going to be able to participate? And she says, I'm going to sit and listen. I said, so what is it you're hoping to get out of this? She says, well, I don't even know what it's about. I'm just, we're sponsoring the event. They told us we could come sit. And I'm like, great. Well, what do you do? And I find out she's in charge of these 6 properties, and they have multiple spaces that you can do small business things, breakouts for and stuff. It's kind of an eclectic bar combo thing. And I'm listening to her, and I'm asking her questions and so forth. She says, you just frustrated me. She says, because I've stopped arguing with my marketing team. They keep telling me a different answer to my questions. And I said, well, do they do all your marketing? She says, no, they work with third parties and so forth. I said, what do the third parties say? Well, basically, my marketing agency argues with them too. And we've all just stopped arguing, and they just do what they do, and they give us the reports. And this is literally almost verbatim. And I'm like,
surrender.
Yeah. So I said, do you guys do Facebook advertisement? Well, I don't know. Okay. Do you do online advertising? I guess they do. In some of the reports, they refer to some of the monies we're spending online. And I said, so are you not in charge of the marketing, that somebody else is in charge of? No, I'm in charge of marketing. I'm like, okay.
Ed is sitting here. Well, no, actually not Ed.
So your whole strategy.
If Stuart was on this, he's like, dream client. That is what we want.
So all you do is you write a check and take a report from the people that say that they spent your money, and you don't ask them what they're doing because you've given up arguing with them because they never give you an answer when you ask.
And next year we need 20% more because this is really going to work out great.
I was like, my gosh, she was more worried about whether there was enough coffee cups in the room than she was about the fact that she had 6 units that had to make profitability. Yeah, and I'm like, you shouldn't even be in this room. One, if you're going to be that kind of way. Two,
actually, that's the shining example of what the brands want at the hotel.
Oh, absolutely!
Because now that owner is 100% dependent on the brand's contribution.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. There is no options for them, but every box is checked. Do we have internal marketing people? Yes. Do we have an external?
And what happens if there's a falling out and they decide to change brands, or that the brand puts a competing brand across the street, or somebody flips it and you're like, wait a second. You go,
but she won't
now
have
what
an
do you
issue
do?
because she's just going to apply for a job at the new place.
Oh, the new place. That's right. Yeah. And go with the flow over there. Yeah, but I mean, then all of a sudden you try to change and all your data is gone. You have no data.
No, you have no data. If you've given up, that means whatever data you have is invalid.
Yeah.
It was just sad. It's sad to listen to that because, I mean, it's a beautiful
place.
Well,
it's sad because she chooses the agency.
Well, it's so easy to just renew the agreement, Ed. And you got to go talk to other ones, and then you got to maybe negotiate with them, and you got to kind of agree on what they're going to. That's so much work.
Questions. You have to ask questions that make sense and actually know what you're asking about. Just send the check. It's okay.
Right. Yeah. It's really more of an accounting thing, I think. Yeah, that's making sure
they get paid. Actually, this is why something I always say is true. Nothing in this industry ever dies. Because there's enough of people like that will just keep paying the check.
Inertia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerful force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So bodies
you need that once you hit escape once you hit escape velocity, you're going forever.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It is unfortunately that and like you said, if all hell breaks loose and things go wrong, she'll just make sure her resume sounds like it was supposed to be done. And it wasn't their fault; it was the agency's fault anyway. And she had to move on because they just didn't listen to her or something.
Well, and you can ask that agency to work up some stats so you can add those into your resume, because then the agency's thinking, if this person goes to another hotel, that's a prospect, a new client. That's perfect.
Yeah. and what frustrates me about this is the reason why I don't mind sharing this is because she acted so arrogant about this. Like I was trying to picture something like, I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I really legitimately.
So you used the double negative to see if she'd pick up on it?
Yeah, didn't work.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sell you nothing.
Yeah, it worked out really well. But it was just one of those frustrating points. It's like, you don't really even care about what the thing you're responsible for. So all the people that are looking to you for answers, you don't have any.
Or she was in that room for the coffee. And you were standing between her and the coffee.
I gave her coffee. I was pleasant. I was actually like I said, the venues were awesome. The service was great. The room was awesome. But I weep for their marketing.
She left the meeting, and they're going to be like, "Oh, how was it?" I don't know. This giant just like walked up to me,
got between me and the coffee,
and started cornering me about our marketing plans and. Asking me questions like what my job title was, and it was very stressful. I need to go to a safe place right now.
Yes, they probably have a safe room by your office. Yeah, quiet and peaceful. Yeah, you're right. Well, so it goes. Too bad to be here.
Unbelievable. Right. But there's a lot of that in the industry. I mean,
unfortunately, way too many of it. And it is funny that, to your point, nothing goes away in this industry. It still baffles me how unfamiliar people are with the most basic of things that are happening. Have been happening for years, and they still don't know what they are. The fact that you can pay to be on Facebook. It was
What?
for something.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Damn it.
I don't pay for my Facebook
something
account.
interesting happened on Facebook this week, and I didn't see it in any news.
Which is
So a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, is a very high up executive in Coldwell Banker Realty for the state of Florida.
Okay.
And he tends to talk to me about marketing stuff, and he came to me and he's like, Ed, I got a note from our agency this morning. All of our Facebook advertising ads have been shut off as rejected. And I was like, whoa, what were you guys doing? Like, doing something crazy? He's like, no. She sent me this link, and the new terms of service for Facebook advertising is magically this week they started following anti-discriminatory laws.
Oh, yes.
And so equal employment opportunity, the housing and urban development, so geotagging, like geofencing and geotargeting is no longer allowed to be used for selling real estate or advertising jobs. Age range is no longer allowed to be used for selling houses or listing jobs. And there was like no forewarning. They just kicked it on and then put up a link.
And also Instagram, anybody under the age of 17 cannot be published advertisement for any e-cigarettes, dietary, and
so
a few other things. Yeah,
but I didn't see any news on this. And it's amazing. Like, that's a huge shift. That now, like, I mean, if you look at it, and to their point, they're like, great, we do massive retirement communities and things like that, and we can't we can't do age range. Even though you can't live in the community unless you're retirement age.
The best way to get around that, we found, was to go over and look at ancillary other products that age are related to, and that can target that, and then we do that for anyway, yeah. It's just it's an end around.
So when you all of a sudden start seeing real estate ads for Cleveland, Ohio, now you know why.
Exactly.
Yeah, it did cut loose on some stuff. It was coming, but yeah, the Instagram one did make the news, but the Facebook didn't when it came to it.
Yeah. I mean, and think about that. Like, this is why you got to pay attention, and you really have to think through if your marketing is legally compliant, because you may never care about it, and you may never get dinged by a government authority, but the networks you're on may all of a sudden develop a conscience and go, we're going to follow the law now, and overnight, your entire marketing strategy is wiped out.
Yep. The Cody had a great blog post about the new sponsorship spaces on Google Hotel Finder Ads, their travel platform. And now you can drop your own sponsored place right on top. It's back again. And I'm happy about it because it does. I mean, it's clean. It says sponsored position. It's not as if it's trying to act like TripAdvisor, which is, this is your number one choice, At least it says sponsorship to it. But, man, that and zero-click. That's another conversation that doesn't come up very often is Google zero-click. The answer boxes. The people don't understand, they don't understand that that's hijacking, that the percentage growth of that if going to where people aren't going to websites is up to 41% on some cases of content where people aren't going to websites. They're only going to the answer boxes.
In some cases, it's more than half. Yeah.
And people are afraid of it. I'm like, I'm loving this. Are you kidding me? I get to go over and look at every FAQ issue that I have for my properties and literally highlight my content to make myself the authority for it. So I'm the freaking answer box all the way down.
Yep.
It just takes good content development and work on it. It's not the buy and forget stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I put a link in the notes there for the Facebook. There's a Verge article. Actually, it was from June. That went through and said, "Here's the new terms of the whole targeting thing on it." So,
well, there you go.
Yeah,
Well,
I missed it in June, and
and it just cut over this week.
Right. Yep. So
in the and then now the more and more going to your UK article, that actually jumps us over to the UK thing now.
Yeah.
Because of the
CMA.
Yep. The clarity on pricing. Yahoo!
Which is great.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'm all for this. Hold on. Where is it? Are you getting the link?
Yeah, I can do that. Here, I'll throw it into the.
Basically,
what I found funny about it is, all right. So go ahead, set it up.
Oh, Basically, it's saying that if you're in the UK, that you will get truth in price. The price is inclusive of everything. You're not going to get any hidden prices things. It has to
No
show
drip
you
pricing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's everything. When you're looking at the price, it's inclusive of all the associated costs with it. There's no pop-up resort fee at the end of this, no pop-up taxes that weren't applied to it or anything like that, which also does lend us to the other article that Booking's going to start skimming off of their resort fee stuff, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
Well, now that it has to be packaged in, why wouldn't you?
Right?
And the associated article just on this in terms of being able to, cheat and stuff like that, right? I think that's the thing that Booking got nailed. It's also the practices of saying only one room left, all these kind of artificial calls for scarcity, that I think somebody did a little research and went, hey, we're finding in a big chunk of these guys that's not really true. And it's, and again, they'll say this.
Here's what's telling about this.
This hotel's been booked 24 times today. Well, maybe it has, but not over the dates that you're looking at.
Right.
Sort of thing. So
here's what's telling about this was who was able to fix it right away.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who I think they thought they were going to get on this, and then who are the big 25 that just can't get it done and don't know when they'll be able to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
It's the hotel chains.
Right. Absolutely.
And here's the thing. What they're talking about is not at all difficult. Technically, not at all. There is zero complexity to what they're talking about that you have to do.
Like, we can't do math. It's so hard.
But someone in one of these hotel chains or in all of them went,
Yeah.
So they're going to give us time to get it done. So let's, spend some money because, expense doesn't matter. So let's hire a huge consulting agency to draw up a plan and everything. Yeah. And let's stretch it out as long as we can because we'll get a boost in bookings over them. We'll have a competitive advantage over them.
Yep.
Which will help us because there's a pullback coming, especially in the UK.
I don't know. Brexit, really? You think that's just kind of a...
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, when you look at the list, it's like it was like instant compliance by Booking.com, Expedia, Agoda, Hotels.com, eBookers, Trivago.
Yep.
A further 25 online hotel and other accommodation booking platforms have asked for a bit more time. Accor, Airbnb, Best Western, Google, which Google I get, theirs will be complex. Hilton. What is Holiday Pirates? Like, gar matey? Like,
hey, don't forget September 19th. Oh, wait, no, not September 19th. September 29th, is it? What, Talk Like a Pirate? I forget which day it was.
No, that was yesterday, I think.
Oh, was it yesterday? Damn it, I missed
So, but then you look at HomeAway. HomeAway I get, because theirs now, they have to think through how housekeeping is handled at the VR level. And, that's a lot of stuff that they probably weren't recognizing as a stored portion of the overarching stay.
Yeah.
So I'll give Airbnb and HomeAway a pass. Mm-hmm. Then you got IHG, last minute, that's unforgivable. Late rooms doesn't even operate. Marriott, what's On the Beach? Is that a hotel? Radisson,
it's like Holiday Pirates. These are all like they're kind of niche OTAs.
Pretty small.
Yeah.
Trip.com. Robert
that's now C-Trip, right?
Yeah, Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. So, you look at this and again, I for vacation rentals, like I get it. That's going to be a new complexity. For the hotels, no, come on, stop it.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Yep. Yeah, it needs to die. And basically in the US the only way, and this obviously it's a governmental initiative and things like that, but that's the only way. You have to have the governments up and say you have to stop, otherwise they don't, because misbehaving is reinforced by positive business results, right? So they're getting positive reinforcement for doing something that's hostile to consumers. And
that was another thing out of the HAMA discussion that they pointed out. Sorry for missing this piece. That because the airlines have been showing the success, but 10 years ahead of us on anticipatory rates for additional things, that the exploitation of early check-in costs late checkout costs are validated and that they will continue, and resort fees will be validated and growing in the future. I'm like,
and they are so full. They're just idiots.
oh my God.
Late checkout, I have no issue with
late
that.
checkout's fine.
Like a fee for late checkout is fully acceptable because it screws up your plan on cleaning your rooms and everything.
Oh no,
that I get.
Fine. Early check-in if it can be confirmed and not just on if it's on request, no. Cut the option, all the stuff that's options for this. Like no, confirm. Are you going to do it or not? Right? Let's not run the lottery and disappoint people. You go, yeah. You want to check in at 7 a.m. and in London,
and then I think an early check-in fee is absolutely acceptable,
but not what I got hit with at High Tech in Minneapolis when I arrived at 10:30 in the morning. They told me to wait until noon for the room to be ready. Come back, and again, I'm just sitting there. They didn't come in and tell me or anything. Walk up, oh yeah, we've got a room ready. It's going to be like $75 to check in early. And it's like, what are you talking about? You just had me wait for what? And they're like, yeah, regular check-in times 3. And it was a choice, what is it? Ascend collection, right? Partner soft brand. I called choice and they're like, no, that's not right. And I go, I just don't know if it's the desk clerk freestyling, if this is a policy. I don't know, right? Sort of thing.
See, I would have pulled an Ed. I would have gone to the bathroom, put on my PJs, get my little bunny slippers on, went back out to the lobby, brushing my teeth, plopped down and spread out my suitcase.
Which Robert,
I'll wait here.
Robert would have done that, but Robert doesn't wear PJs.
Oh,
he would have just been full nude,
Wait, no.
That would have got you a room quick. That would have got you.
No, I wear those the little baby doll, things.
Oh.
I picked that up from Lauren. Lauren told me how comfortable those were.
I sent you the link on Amazon. I hope you like this selection. Yeah, but no, it's just you look at them, you kind of like, really, and you plan on me ever staying with you all again? Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like. Well, and the worst was he's like, well, that's actually a deal because it's normally a quarter of the daily rental, and tonight we're sold out and it's $360 a night. And I'm like, I booked this in advance and my rate is $69. Sort of thing. I mean, this makes no sense, right, at all.
Oh, yeah. You're lucky. Our normal beating stick doesn't have nails in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Just ridiculous. And they did not make change. That was the other thing. Ed may have missed that one when I checked out. I wanted them to break up at 20, and they didn't do it. And they sent me to the Curio member next door because they made change. It's like, wow.
That's why you walked over to the Residence Inn for breakfast, even though it was a full flag Marriott. It's like, yeah. I mean, I actually went down and the front desk agent's like, well, we have our breakfast, a restaurant that's open for breakfast. She says, but the residence is right there if you just want to grab a quick something. I'm like, wow, you're doing good for your hotel. I mean, I appreciate the hell out of it.
No, they're doing great for their hotel because they don't own the Residence Inn. So they're like,
common ownership management? Nope, we're totally separate.
Yeah, you're right. No, I actually think they all were. It was that typical triad over one parking lot, full flag.
Yeah.
The bag of goods that Marriott sold some poor sucker that bought both 3 buildings.
Residence Inn, I think, is having some challenges. I don't know. I think the brand is not getting much attention, which is a little bit surprising. But I don't know. But not doing much.
Sarcastic with it being.
No, I'm not. No. The stats off of the JD Power stuff they have poorly.
30 brands.
No. Residence Inn as a brand though is getting killed by the other long-term stay brands. It's crazy. Yeah.
Hey, I got time for the rut row if we could do the row because I got to pack up and go off to the airport.
Yeah, because I want to understand. I didn't see how it was a rut row.
Oh, well, there was another rut row, but I thought it might be a little too. There was the Miami Velvet Swingers Club wound up having to pay $900,000 for using models' pictures without their okay. So I thought that would be good for Ed. I didn't know if Ed was going to be on the show or something. It was like, well, that's why you work with Flip. You work with Flip too. We can do that one. We can change on the fly. You want me to?
Had the Miami Swingers Club used the Flip2 platform, they would have had correct permissions from every single one of those models.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
now you know
yeah,
why
but-
the value proposition you flip to. If you own
Yeah,
any
so-
sort of gentleman's club,
Yeah. Well, and what
Speaking
happened
of-
because it was but no, the models they used were people who were like on Dancing with the Stars and Real Life Housewives of Miami and a Miami Dolphins cheerleader and someone who was on Deal or No, so they were, I guess,
They were
kind
not
of famous
swingers.
people. They had never been to the club, didn't know that their picture was being used in this context or anything. Yeah, not a good
So speaking
thing.
of that kind of foolishness, though, do either of you do Uber Eats?
Uber Eats?
I have done Uber Eats.
Yeah, we do it. We do it a lot. And I was on Uber Eats and I was flicking through the restaurant options because they're always getting new restaurants in my area. And I look at one and I show it to my wife and I'm like, it's called Rachel's Steakhouse. I said, do you think it's the Gentleman's Club? That's like 3 towns over? And she's like, I don't know, what's the address? And I look at the address, look it up on Google Maps. On Uber Eats, the Gentleman's Club 3 towns over is only positioning itself as a steak restaurant. And they're trying to sell
a steakhouse.
Uber
They're
Eats.
selling steaks. Yeah, so they sell. It's a high-end
Right.
gentleman's club.
But
They've got
Uber
a restaurant.
Eats,
They're
you
selling
don't know
probably good
that you're
steak.
getting steak from a gentleman's club, which is hilarious.
Kudos to them to optimize every revenue source available.
Yeah. Oh
If
no,
they're
I think for
offering
them
steak-
it's great. Yeah.
Hey,
So is the name of that club Rachel's or
Yes.
is it?
Rachel's is
Oh,
very
it is.
famous.
So they did. No, I was thinking maybe they just completely changed the name.
No.
So they're still using their main business name, and so that's okay.
Rachel's is a famous club down here, and they are known for having started this whole steak night thing with the club. It's actually a thing. Yeah. So,
but here's what's funny is,
and Lauren dines there 3 times a week.
I'm gaming this out. Well, and so that's the thing. So I'm
it's like
gaming
the article.
this
I read
out.
the articles. I had Playboy. I just read the articles. I never looked.
He only goes for the steak.
Well, so like your hope on someone who would order Uber Eats from you that's never eaten at your restaurant before is that if they enjoyed the food, they would want to come to your restaurant at some
That makes
point.
sense.
So can you imagine the people who don't know, who order from this Rachel's Steakhouse, and the steak is fantastic. So they decide to take
Get the
some
family.
Grandpa.
get the family, get grandma, grandpa, old Aunt Edith.
Grandpa ain't gonna mind. Grandpa ain't gonna mind.
We're all going down to this awesome steakhouse that I found. Because you're not going to say, I found it on Uber Eats. You're just going to say, we're going to this amazing steakhouse that I found. The steak's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys are going to love it. And then you pull up.
Bow, chicky, bow, wow.
Yep. And there's a lot of neon.
Dallas, which was always a haven for gentlemen's club, this area, Northwest Highway, which a very prominent cross thing, and used to have all these clubs, and they finally got kind of eradicated. But back in the day, it was great that on Thanksgiving Day, one of the club, I can't remember the name of it, I think it was like Baby Dolls or something like that, had Thanksgiving dinner at the club, and everyone welcome, right? And so you kind of go, well, it's kind of good. It's kind. I don't know.
Wait.
It was free,
like kids.
Anyone, yeah, families.
So there's no
everybody.
entertainment going on then.
Right, no entertainment going on. They on Thanksgiving, yeah, they did that, and you kind of went, well, I guess that's okay because maybe the dancers and their family. I don't know. I never went. But
buffet, though, when they talked about it being a big chicken, a big turkey, the G word. That's when it threw it off. That's when people were wondering what that meant. Hey, I did see the design flaw in the CNN travel article. The fact that they're going to be naming the hotel design after Bob Brown.
Yeah,
that's the thing I think is the quirk because.
Well, okay.
It's like, okay, look, no doubt the man was brilliant. He literally did create the rockets that we use, and unfortunately, he also created the rockets that the Nazis used. So I don't think naming the first hotel design in space after him is probably a good step.
And this thing's never getting built anywhere near to what this thing is being described as.
Yeah,
I mean, the design things are like, wow, those are really high ceilings.
2001: A Space Odyssey stuff.
Lots of square foot. Oh, and it's all based on 2000. It's like, yeah, they took some.
Circle
they
wheel.
saw 2001. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. You're going to have a little floating in space with debris flying around you, hoping that you don't get hit by a meteor.
A bunch of investors are going to get bilked on this one.
Well, this hotel is brought to you by the Fry Festival people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just really, I mean, and you
which
look
actually, another interesting, just off, like, you'll know how weird my brain works. So we were just talking about Space Hotel, which then made me think about the Star Wars Hotel at Disney, which then made me think of the Star Wars commercial that Disney's been running in Orlando, which ran the other night, and my daughter and I were sitting watching TV, and you want to know how much kids hate advertising? So it kicks off with the Disney commercial kicks off with a little girl. I've waited my entire life for this. And she's on the Millennium Falcon. And my daughter goes, you waited your entire life for some cheap ride? And I look at her and I'm like,
that's not all kids. That is a StOnge.
That's right.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like,
that's Daddy's little girl, man. That's Daddy's little girl.
I mean, I was proud because yes, but wow.
Hey, speaking of advertisement, have you seen the PSA that came out for child violence, the guns in the schools that was done with the Sandy Hook Foundation?
No.
Powerful. I mean, one of the best PSAs I've ever seen. It starts like it's JCPenney or Sears commercials, like these skateboards is just the best thing. And then all of a sudden you see them slamming the glass because they're trying to get out of a classroom because somebody's walking around with a rifle. And it's like, and these sneakers are great because you get to jam underneath the door, and it shows them trying to. It's like a retail commercial for kids stuff, and the kids are
repurposing repurposing the products.
Yeah, and then it has a girl hovering on a toilet with a phone, typing "Mom, I love you." She's like, "And I love this phone because," and she's crying because I get to tell my mom I'm okay, that I love her. And then you hear the door open, and you hear a thing sound. It's like. I mean, it gives me goosebumps when I think it is.
Wow.
I mean, it's like, man, power of advertising. I hope that gets pushed everywhere because it
won't, because people are so soft now that they're going to complain that it's too harsh.
Oh, they already are. They already are. But it is. If you don't get I don't have the link, sorry, but if you get the chance, go look at the PSA from the Sandy Hook. It is incredibly powerful, and I think immensely well done. It sends a very strong. It brings it very real. The terror of what we're talking about in schools, the absolute terror,
back to school essentials. There it is.
Yeah, it is. Just take a look at it.
Well, speaking to that, having children, so they do lockdown drills now, like you would do fire drills.
Yeah.
And they're not allowed to talk. They have to be quiet. They shut off the lights. They have to like crouch down and hide. My gosh.
Oh yeah.
Like. My gosh.
And yet you still hear the rhetoric and stuff. It just, this political rhetoric. It's like, wow. So, but this commercial is incredible.
Although I saw this morning one of the gun manufacturers is stopping production on consumer AR-15 rifles.
Colt. Colt owns that line, and they are
good for them.
Well, they're sitting there going, wait a second. We are on the wrong side of this thing, and they're going to outlaw this. Maybe we can do some stuff to,
do it proactively. It won't hit your stock as hard.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will actually speak positively of you. But also it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. There is no purpose. And too bad Tim's here because he really is our main political commentator.
He's our political
Although, were either of you on Holly's political email this week?
I've been with Holly for the past few days. She thoroughly loved the conversation with you, Ed.
Yeah?
She kept saying it over and over. She says, I really got a chance to talk to Ed about politics, and it was fascinating. She enjoyed it because she really was looking for an open consensus because the way she's doing it now is the reason why, used to be with Holly. Holly has very strong political opinions. And that's great. And silence is bad. I'm not one to put it on my social media, but I will be open and talking about it if I'm in a room with somebody. I should hide behind anything. But she voices her comments on Facebook and so. But as she's doing more and more business with her business, she has to divide what she's doing personally with what she does business wise.
Right. Yeah.
And so she started creating groups, which is what they're for. But she did solicit us out as to how do you feel about things? How do you feel about what are some of your political views? And she thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with you. She kept saying that over and over at dinners. She's like, I really got a chance to talk about and talk through things, And it's fun because Holly, brilliant as she is, it's fun to hear how she sees things.
Well, and I was helping her out. I posted on her little thing because she now has 2 Facebook groups, right? She has one that's going to have political content and one that's not, because she's filtering out her, her friends on it into different groups.
Yeah.
So I certainly posted. I've been doing a little bit of help. The co-branded concealed carry holsters for the MAGA sales influencer stuff came in. I just want to know, where she wants them. So anyway.
Oh man, she tells me she overbooked her house. Holly is very generous. She wanted when me coming out. She's like, "Hey, you want to stay at the house? She has an extra room." And then Tammy from Milestones come out, and she's like, "Hey, Tammy, you want to stay over?" I already booked the hotel. Tammy had already booked it with some other people over there, so we didn't get to take a chance of it. But she's next week or the week after, I guess, is having a bunch of people coming over because of another conference in town that they're joining. And she says it's going to be really interesting because one of the people is a very pro-Trump. And then I have another person that is gay and another person that is a lesbian. And the Trump person is very homophobic. It's like, aren't you going to have a fun house? In that sense, it's like, okay, well, but again.
It's weird though. A lot of the homophobic people really like lesbians. I don't know. I've seen this.
But here's the thing.
Oh my God.
That's an old joke. It's a very, very old joke.
But here's the thing. This is how open Holly is. Think about this for a second. Holly has strong political perspectives of things. But again, to the truism of who she is, just because you disagree with one thing doesn't mean you have to disagree with the entire person. Right.
Ed doesn't abide by that. It's disagree with everyone on every topic.
Actually, so the thing you're missing is, while on this show I'm incredibly opinionated and very black and white in a lot of ways, I'm actually incredibly malleable with my political views. Really? Because I err on common sense.
Yeah. Well, as I say, Ed is Sith on this show because he deals in absolutes. It's either on his side or you're wrong.
But actually, those two things aren't mutually exclusive.
It
can be you're on my side and you're wrong.
I thought you were trying to say that common sense and politics weren't mutually exclusive, and I would like you to have example. Yeah, provide an example, buddy.
No, those are mutually exclusive.
Those are mutually exclusive by far. Yeah. But yeah, it gets into the things that we've lost this moderation skill. And Holly's a perfect example of how it still exists, where just because we don't agree on everything doesn't mean we should disagree on everything either. You're still friends, you're still this, you're still everything. It's just on this particular topic, we see differently on the same thing. But she also is open-minded that when she asks questions like she did with this political question, as we should for all of us, it's an open-minded to listen to why you believe what you believe.
Right, not just waiting for the chance to tell you that you're wrong.
Right. So I applaud her for that. Sorry she didn't make it on the show today. She did have a call with a client. I forget who it was, but anyway. Tim, however, is unforgiven because Tim said he was going to be here today. Yeah. So Tim is probably Robert. You got to make up a story for Tim.
So if you
Stuart also is not on today, although I spoke to him before the show.
He said he was going to be here. So
what are Tim and Stuart up to?
They're in Nevada.
Yes. They beat me I was going to take my ride up there. They're already there, those bastards. They're up there trying to go over free data. The cyborg. Yeah. But anyways, gentlemen, I'm going to go to the airport.
I need to wrap it up too, because believe it or not, my brand new laptop's battery got sucked from 100% to 34% from Webinar Jam. So,
what kind of laptop did you get? What kind?
MacBook Pro.
Oh, you got one of the newer ones? Yeah?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I finally had to break down. I waited as long as I could.
I'm going to wait
because I didn't want to have to get. I had one of the MacBook Pros with an HDMI port.
Oh yeah.
So they had
yeah, and now I have to have dongles.
Yeah. Hey, I did buy the new watch though.
The new one?
New one, because I'm behind you by one edition.
Is it any different?
I don't know yet. I ordered, so it won't be until November that I get mine.
Yeah,
I'm behind.
I got to tell you, sometimes I don't understand Wall Street. So this I watch Apple every year because I want to know what impact it'll have to what Flip 2 does and everything. And there were certain aspects that I was like, wow, like if you're a content creator, the new Pro iPhone where it can do multi-stream video recording off of the different cameras of the phone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw that, but like you literally can just put your phone between you and a person you're interviewing and it's capturing both of you.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's brilliant.
Yep.
Honestly, everything else, I have no desire to get one. And I think we've hit the pinnacle of what this form factor can do.
Yep.
And yet Wall Street was like, Apple did it again.
No,
Yeah.
Apple didn't do
I
it
think
again.
Wall Street just is the opposite of reality. Because
There's
when
too
I
much-
look at, there have been years where I've looked at what Apple's done and I'm like, wow, they're like killing it. This is amazing. These services are amazing. This is going to be amazing. And Wall Street, like, Apple's going out of business. And then I look at this year and I'm like, man, this legitimately should be the last time they do this event.
There's too much capital searching for places to go. I mean, that's the problem. And they want, and the volatility thing, I mean, just watch out because, think they want them to go up and go down. Volatility is a great thing for get people trading, right?
Well, for me
that's
right
where
now,
the money's made.
Ed, you bought the later watch after mine. I have Series 3, you have Series 4. So the 5 was a big enough jump for me to make it worth it.
Yeah.
It wasn't really for you. Everybody's saying that 4 to 5 is like, if you're happy with the 4 with what you're doing.
That's actually how they've done the watch in general.
Yeah.
1 to 2 was incremental, 2 to 3 incremental, not enough to change, 3 to 4 incremental, not enough to change. But Apple's not the only one. Like this year's Samsung phones, all the Android stuff.
Well,
the new Pixel, the Pixel 4 will be
coming up next month. Yeah, 4 should
I'm
come out next month.
I'm going with that one.
So what about
I have an original Pixel that's now 3.
But what about it is like amazing.
Yeah. Oh, what's amazing?
It's just cameras and screen. Like that's all they're doing now. All of them.
Oh yeah, but it's also pure Android and it's fast and it's all. I mean, the amazing thing with Android is the latest because I'm on 10. I'm really disappointed they got rid of the dessert names, right? That's really But anyway, so I'm now on Android 10 and I've got the original Pixel and it's now they're going to stop doing this updates on it. But every month I've gotten update and it works fine. It's a little bit underpowered. The camera isn't really as great as it could be because times have changed, but it still works.
It's still incredibly effective at making sure that anything you interact with has all of your private data. You're right. I mean, it does that very efficiently.
Actually,
Android is very good at that.
They are trying harder, but I did sell my soul to Google. Yeah. So.
And you know what's going to happen on this show now when after he gets his Pixel 4, when he waves his hand, Google's going to talk to him. What do you want, Dave?
But actually they're now doing kind of the Apple thing where it's coming up on these sites. It'll say who has your location data in background, and it's a active notification, and it gives you, I want it always on, only when I'm using the app, or turn it effing off, right? And which is great. They're doing better.
So to wrap it up, to bring this all to a close for you guys, highly recommend The Spy on Netflix. Sacha Baron Cohen.
Okay.
Amazing. Like he's going to win awards for this role. It's about
is it
Ellie
a comedy
Cohen.
or is
it's a true story about Ellie Cohen, who was an Egyptian living in Israel and in the 50s, and the Israeli government sent him into Syria as a spy. And so Sacha Baron Cohen plays this guy.
Wow.
And he's an amazing actor. So see that. If you were on Holly's political email, I recommended Colin Quinn has a one thing show on Netflix talking about what's wrong with our democracy and the history of how it went wrong. That's really good. Highly recommend that. And then The Chef on Netflix is another one I have to now recommend, which is I forget the guy's name. He was the guy who directed the first Iron Man movie.
Oh, Jon Favreau.
Yeah, so Jon Favreau's cooking show.
Hey, did you guys ever watch Goliath on?
No.
On
Showtime?
Yeah, it is really good.
Yeah,
I got hooked on that. Yeah, it's a great thinking show. It's pretty cool. It's pretty coul. Anyway, all right. So now we did our TV picks, but anyway, gentlemen, as always, thank you, Tim. I don't know what happened to you, dude. What CIA stuff? Area 51? Did you?
I think that's probably. I think the whole.
Now, do you think
they
Tim
aren't
was on
UFOs? What are they called? They're like unidentified aerial something or others.
Well, they caught him on. They caught him on camera.
UAPs.
Flying. Remember the jet with the video that they caught Tim flying to Area 51. That was number one mistake he made.
That's right.
Number two, he's on the other side of the fence keeping people out. So we can't really be on his side because I'm on Stewart's side where it's like, oh, let's go get him. So we're probably going to see Tim on some laser beam battlefield here real soon. Is all I'm thinking.
Like with Stewart on the other side.
By giving them a name, you're misnaming them. By identifying them as UAPs, you're identifying them, so they're no longer unidentified.
Yeah, well, they're categorized.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see everyone on show number 216 next week at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central. Till then, bye, everybody.